after coming off our first regular season night of racing last Saturday night at the Crosse Fairgrounds Speedway. Everybody else was pretty hampered by the cold. I know the Dells had called off, Jefferson called off. Upper Iowa Speedway was under several inches of water, so it just wasn't a really good weekend. But La Crosse Speedway, we got our regular season opener underway, and we had some thrilling racing, as you would expect. One driver that was not there was racing in Wausau, ended up winning the ARCA Midwest Tour race. That would be Tomah Sparta. And coming up not only this program, but on the radio show, which you'll hear from noon to 1 on Saturday, the Whitetail Crossing Convenience Store Race Report with Bill Niles and I from 12 to 1 on WBOG. Going to talk about the big signing to Roush Racing by Majeski this week, and to talk a little bit more about that, I've had a chance to talk with Ty at length over the past couple of days on what's to be expected now, besides maybe an overall time frame and a schedule for the ARCA Tour, and what Ty is going to be dabbling in there. So without further ado, let's do what we do every show. We take you back to the La Crosse Speedway. We recap what we saw last Saturday night. It was chilly. We appreciate the fans that stuck it out. It got really cold, about 42 by the time the features were almost done. And you'll see, it was kind of funny. Brad Powell got out of his car during the interviews I do after the late model feature. Steam just rolled off his head, so it was kind of cool. Let's take you to the La Crosse late models. And the man that's trying to turn 4 track championships in a row turned several really good laps on Saturday night, and that would be Mr. Steve Carlson. Steve Carlson started off 10th in the NASCAR late model feature, battled his way up to first place by the 11th lap. Brad Powell and Sean Paff settled in at second and third respectively to round out the top 3. You can see those 3 really starting to get light tight the last 2 laps. I really thought maybe Brad Powell would try to make a move on the king of the short track, Steve Carlson, but it wasn't going to happen. And this lap car right here really kind of helped Carlson. You see him get on the throttle there. He opens up a full car advantage. And not much BP Brad Powell or Sparta's Sean Paff could do to try to catch the 66 of Steve Carlson. Look at all those top 3 track championships written all over those guys. That also puts Steve Carlson on top of the point standings. Ty Majeski, after week number 1, had the point lead. He tumbles all the way to 13th. So you can pretty much take Ty out of that La Crosse Speedway Championship run this year, but I think Ty's got some bigger and better things he's going to be concerning himself about. As we look at that, it's Steve Carlson, Brad Powell, and Sean Paff. They finish 1, 2, 3, and that's how they are in the points as they get ready for double features. Coming up next Saturday night could make things real interesting. If you look at the point standings right now, Steve Carlson is the lead. He is 12 better than Brad Powell, 15 better than Sean Paff, and he's only 17 points ahead of his son Mike Carlson and about 20 in front of Adam Degenhardt. So after 2 late model points races, 5 drivers are right there on the brink of maybe upsetting Steve Carlson's bid for a 4th championship run this year. To the La Crosse Sportsman we go. Want to thank all the 5 Minnesota drivers that came down. Bad news for one of those drivers, Adam Oxborough, got tangled up late in the race, smashed his car up. But good luck on your back surgery this week. We can't wait to see you back at La Crosse. And this one here was a 10th place start, charging to the front to the win. Just like Carlson started 10th, it was Nick Clements. Lap 2 at a caution where we saw Nick Clements and Justin Mullican bring the field back to green by lap 3. Clements was in the lead and stayed there until the checkered flag. Good run, though, between the 2 guys running first and second in the Sportsman's points. And that would be, of course, Steve Bachman and Nick Clements, the Kachow number 8, sitting on top of the point standings after 2-point races in. And this race could have had a whole different makeup, I guess you could say. When the caution came out, there goes Nick collecting the checkered flag. When the caution came out, Devin Schmidt and Adam Oxborough were both running first and second. When the caution came out, there was some confusion. I didn't hear the entire story, so I won't get into what I heard. But both your first and second place cars ended up leaving the racetrack and going in the pits. They were under the assumption they were told to go down there, I guess. Came back on the track, but they had to start dead last. So that kind of changed the makeup of this race right here. And I even talked to Steve Bachman and Nick Clements, and he said, hey, with Devin Schmidt sitting out front like that, winning a heat race earlier in the night, we were prepared for maybe a 4th and 5th place finish somewhere in there. But the first two dropped out. They pick up the tail end. Schmidt did finish 5th, by the way, so a nice job by him. But Nick Clements gets the win and retains the point lead. He also, a year ago, broke the track record. Opening night this year, Steve Bachman broke his track record. Nick Clements broke Bachman's track record twice. So now the Sportsman track record again owned by Nick Clements. Let's go to the Action Track quarter mile. That's where you found the Thunderstocks. And this was a pretty good one as well. We had 3 El Caminos in this race. And Melissa Rouge had forced a 3-1 at one point, and the big red tire came into play, collected some cars, and that enabled that man right there, Bill Schott from Tomah. He was running 4th at the time, found his way through, jumps into 2nd place, got himself the 1st place, and you see the white flag flying under rookie Chris Christian right there. Schott, who is being trailed by no other than Andy Moore. Andy tried right there to get to the inside, just not enough room. These two had a big drag race into the corners, and Schott will pick up his first feature win of 2016. And Bill Schott could find himself, if he races like that and can hold off someone like Andy Moore, could really find himself in contention at the end of the year for that track championship. The Hornets were back out on Saturday night. Good field of Hornets. Some of the rookie drivers are really doing a nice job this year, and some of the veteran drivers are really helping them along, helping with tire setups and how to tame the Action Track quarter mile. Patrick Tickey brought home the feature win after a lot of activity in this race. It was Steve Bornitz, who had won earlier in the night, having to try to chase down Tickey. Well, Bornitz gets stuck right there behind a lapped car. Tickey was on the accelerator through the bump in turn 1 and somehow held on to win this one right here. Everybody knows Bornitz on the back of his probe. It says you got probed after he wins. You're faced to read that. And that wasn't going to happen here. Patrick Tickey did a nice job of being patient, went to the inside. Bornitz got stuck behind the slower lap car. And that man right there, Patrick Tickey, who has always been in the points battle the past 2 or 3 seasons, cruised around and got himself a win. One more race to talk about. We'll do that when we start on segment number 2. The Street Stocks had their first race of the season, and they did it in record numbers. We're going to talk about that and a whole lot more next on 7 Rivers Racing.
The next time you visit the west coast of Wisconsin, there's a hotel in La Crosse you need to check into. Here's General Manager Roxanne North.
We want to treat every guest with the best that we have to offer, and that starts with the front desk all the way through the housekeeping department. My general philosophy in life is I treat my staff the way I want to be treated, and I pass that on that we treat our guests that way.
For reservations, visit the website, settlein.com.
People come here, we want them to feel like family.
Have you tried the great lunch buffet at Pizza Hut? Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1:30, Pizza Hut in La Crosse and Winona offers you an all-you-can-eat lunch buffet for just $5.99. All the salad, pasta, breadsticks, and of course, delicious piping hot pizza you can eat. Want to try something really special? Pizza Hut is now featuring a bacon-stuffed crust pizza. Apple smoked bacon with melty cheese and stuffed in the crust. Just $12.99 for one topping at your La Crosse and Winona Pizza Hut. Call for delivery or order online. Pizza Hut.
Whatever your perfect temperature, you'll enjoy consistent comfort with the heating and air conditioning systems homeowners rank #1. American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning.
Get up to $1,100 off on select American Standard systems. Call Carey Heating or visit AmericanStandardAir.com for complete program eligibility, dates, details, and restrictions. Carey Heating and Air Conditioning, your residential specialist.
Hi, folks. Welcome back. K3GTV. I'm going to have your 7 Rivers Racing segment 2. And only one more highlight to give you from this past Saturday night's races at the La Crosse Fairgrounds Speedway. This is the actually 2.5 seasons now that we've ran the Street Stocks, basically a wide open OEM V6. 22 of them came out to play on Saturday night, the largest we've ever seen. And I would foresee right now the next year and two, this street stock class is going to be building upwards of 30 to 35 cars. We had a nice one right here. We had everybody start the feature. I think it was 20 started the feature. And after all the nip and tuck and bumping and grinding, that man right there, bumping, even rolling through, I think, 4 different sets of bumpers that were left on the track. Keith Larson came out in the Pontiac Grand Prix right there and worked his way through the field, which was a very stout field, and he found his way into victory lane. Again, this was the very first street stock race we had of 2016, and what a nice job he did. And of course, after night number 1, he finds himself in first place in the point standings. Jonathan Burbach, the cop, took second. Dan Rosick third. Al Bartels fourth, and Dan Osthoff running at the top 5. Osthoff was in Trevor Zeller's yellow Camaro, and I found out this week that Osthoff will at least be in that car one more time when they come out to play before he jumps back into, I think, his Audi. So we'll have to keep tabs with Dan Osthoff and see how that goes. So you can find out the complete point standings at lacrossespeedway.com. It's really newly formatted this year. You can just go on the fans area, drop-down menu shows the points, and you can get it from top to bottom, even everybody with the dash point. So for the next couple of minutes, this segment and next segment, it's been about 4 years since we've taken the racing to the eastern part of this area. Outside of La Crosse County, we're going to go to Monroe County and to talk a little bit more about what's been growing. And I've been very excited to see the Tomah Sparta Speedway grow. It's gone through 3 or 4 name changes over the past couple of years. Dabbled into announcing out there. They went through a couple of rough patches with, which I'll say straight up, with an idiot promotion group out of Indiana. And the way that they left these guys, everybody thought this racetrack was going to close. They've dug down deep. They've got the business support. They've got the family support. Now they're getting driver support. And we thought we would introduce a couple of gentlemen from Tomah Sparta Speedway. And first off, what is your name, young man?
I'm Rick Porter. I'm in charge of the media group and stuff like that out there.
And that man at the end?
I'm Steve Jorgensen. I'm the race director and manager there.
Now, Steve, you've been with the Speedway. I mean, we've gone through several. I mean, we still have the same owner, but management, the way the management's set up, you've been out there for quite a long time.
Yes.
Not just the past 4 or 5 years.
I've been out there since they reopened, period. At first, I was just maintenance man, and then when the group you were talking about did what they did and left, I took over and tried to rebuild it from that point.
You know, and I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I do want to bring this up. They left you guys in a very, very bad position, not only for the track and the drivers, but the business support was growing in Tomah, Warren, Sparta, Monroe County. Yeah. It took you guys up until this year. It's been about 2 or 3 years to really pick up the pieces after what they did.
The first year we don't even count. They had done so much damage to so many different people, drivers included, that didn't like them. The first year we just tried to keep it open and build from there.
And Rick, what is it that I was there the initial year that this thing came back open? It had been closed for on and off for years, and I was the announcer the very first year that this thing started opening up again. What is it about the Tomah Sparta Speedway that there's so much of a push to say, yes, folks, we are not going anywhere. Come here and play on a Sunday than a Friday?
Well, I think the big thing right now is it's called, a lot of time people are referring to it as grassroots racing. And what that is basically it's not high dollar. We're not a NASCAR track. We're not sanctioned by any bodies at the moment. We could be open to ideas on that. But I think the biggest appeal right now is that it's a local track. It's fairly regional. It's a short track. Drivers really like it because it's considered as a driver's track. It's a relatively flat track. Doesn't have high bank corners, and you can build up quite a bit of speed going down the front straight on that track. So there's quite a bit of local and regional appeal there, I think.
I think one thing that helps is the names that jump out at me that have run that track. I mean, Dick Trickle used to love running that racetrack. Yeah. Billy Miller rubbing shoulders and fenders with Steve Scholze. I mean, these are some of the fathers of current drivers. Dakota Miller, Cole Scholze, who's running the truck series that you guys are going to see sometimes. It's the fathers that are kind of sitting back now watching what their kids are doing that can say, I remember, and you guys have one of the most famous videos I've ever seen. I think it was back in maybe the 80s. Someone took off to turn 1 and knocked out a tree. And the views on that has been incredible. But it's such a history, family-rich racetrack.
Right. And I think that's one of the big appeals is we are a family-oriented track, and we keep things clean. We keep the racing clean. If there's people even in the stands that are causing a little bit of extra trouble, we'll ask them to leave politely, and sometimes a little less politely if they get belligerent about it. But
we've all been there, done that.
No, I don't think.
I haven't been on the receiving end of getting booted, but I'm sure some folks out.
There's and I've seen it happen too, where somebody starts an argument and it's like, well, you're going to settle down or you got to go. and sometimes the latter of the two.
It has surprised me since we reopened. There's still people that haven't realized we reopened. But when you talk to most of the people in Tomah and Sparta area, it seems like everybody had a brother, a friend, an uncle, or some kind of connection to the Tomah Sparta Raceway that raced there at one time or another through the years.
There is. I mean, that was just the top 3 names that have popped off because I'm good friends with Steve and Billy Miller, and I've heard a lot of the stories that they had back in the day where, you know, when you were lined out to the pits, you went all the way out to the highway and then either took a right or a left on 21 and they were parked. I mean, that's almost like the 141 Speedway in Francis Creek. I think your track is similarly laid out how theirs is. Mm-hmm. And once you were at the end of the pit road, you were all the way down the highway waiting to get back in that racetrack. And I know that is where you guys would like to see this track get back to.
Yes.
We have had cars lined up out to the highway. We haven't. I don't think we've quite lined on the highway yet, but we've been out to the edge of the highway. So, if I could, I'd like to clarify one thing. You said Tomah Sparta Speedway, and we're actually referred to as Tomah Sparta Raceway now. So
okay, Raceway.
It was an internet thing that we ran into a little trouble with the domains, and we had to make it Raceway. So we're going to call it the Tomah Sparta Raceway from now on.
Nothing wrong with that. I like that too.
It's like on the hats.
It all deals with racing, and we're going to talk more with both of these guys here in the next segment. We're going to let you know a little bit about who works there, who drives there, the different classes they have. And if you look at the schedule right here, folks, they've got a lot of stuff coming up this year, especially memorial races. If you do choose to go to the Raceway this year, please go to one of the memorial races because these are some big names right here with a lot of backbone to that area. And we're going to get into that a little bit more when we hit segment number 3 coming up next on 7 Rivers Racing.
Whatever your perfect temperature, you'll enjoy consistent comfort with the heating and air conditioning systems homeowners rank #1. American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning.
Get up to $1,100 off on select American Standard systems. Call Carey Heating or visit AmericanStandardAir.com for complete program eligibility, dates, details, and restrictions. Carey Heating and Air Conditioning, your residential specialist. Have you tried the great lunch buffet at Pizza Hut? Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1:30, Pizza Hut in La Crosse and Winona offers you an all-you-can-eat lunch buffet for just $5.99. All the salad, pasta, breadsticks, and of course, delicious piping hot pizza you can eat. Want to try something really special? Pizza Hut is now featuring a bacon-stuffed crust pizza. Apple smoked bacon with melty cheese and stuffed in the crust. Just $12.99 for one topping at your La Crosse and Winona Pizza Hut. Call for delivery or order online. Pizza Hut. The next time you visit the west coast of Wisconsin, there's a hotel in La Crosse you need to check into. Here's General Manager Roxanne North.
We want to treat every guest with the best that we have to offer, and that starts with the front desk all the way through the housekeeping department. My general philosophy in life is I treat my staff the way I want to be treated, and I pass that on that we treat our guests that way.
For reservations, visit the website, settlein.com.
People come here, we want them to feel like family.
Welcome back one more time to 7 Rivers Racing, K2AG-TV. I'm Dan Donker, talking with a couple of gentlemen that are representing the Tomah Sparta Raceway. If you're not sure where that is, it is right up on Highway 21. You go through Tunnel City, you go down the hill, look left, look for the sign, and there it is. They've got acres and acres of land out there. And this would, I was trying to think during the break here, has it been 5 years or 6 that it's been open on a regular basis, not the hit or miss kind of a thing?
5.
I think, well, actually 4 years because 2013 they were open all season that year, and we took it over in 14, and this will be our 3rd year as the management team out there.
So talk about the different classes you have, because you guys have, I think, a niche. La Crosse Speedway, you know what they run. The Dells, you know what they run. Jefferson and Marshfield, you know everybody runs. I thought it was interesting in a conversation I had with Matt Moore years ago on what you guys have done to Hornet cars. It's not just a typical Hornet car. I think you run 2, maybe even 3 classes now.
We run 2. We have the Street Hornet and the Pro Hornets.
Okay.
The Pros, I think we're going to be even stepping them up a little bit more next year. We allow them to do a lot with their suspensions and a little bit with their motors, but next year I think we're going to allow them to open them up a little bit more and turn it into more of an outlaw class.
And I know with the likes of Matt Moore, some of the lacrosse guys that can't wait for you guys to go back to Friday nights because they'll run both nights. You get the likes of the Wood family, who's been racing up there, I think, since they painted that red back in the early 1900s. I just say that because I know Dad and Lonnie watch the program.
Those are good people.
They are, and again, that goes to the family because the last time I announced her, Sandy was actually doing some scoring. So, I mean,
we actually have her back in the tower this year again.
Now, are you making Caitlin take pictures or cook up hot dogs or something?
No, actually, she's counting.
Okay.
She's
So
working with her mom.
now.
She's working with her mom now. Yeah.
Talk about the one class that when I first started at Crosse Speedway, we had the A and the B mods, and they were on the asphalt. You guys are slowly but surely bringing those modifieds back, and I keep hearing that is like the marquee class at that track.
Yes.
And one of these days, I was talking to Bill Schott a couple weeks ago. He said, Dyker, give this 3 or 4 years, we're going to have 20 or 30 of those cars out there.
Yeah, that was a class that when we first took over management, the first year we said let's do something nobody else is doing, and so we got the B mods going, and it's taken us a while. Right now, I think we have 14 of them registered with us for this year.
That's outstanding. Outstanding.
The first couple of years, it was people were asking me why I'd run 4 cars at a time. And, well, you got to start somewhere. Yeah.
And that's exactly right. And I try to do what I could, media-wise and racing-wise, with what I do. When somebody would say, "Well, Tomah only had 40 people in the grandstands and a car count of 9." You got to start someplace. And I've religiously followed what you guys have done with the new radio show this year, flipping over to BOG and Tomah. You're going to be hearing and seeing a lot more of me, whether you like it or not, and a lot more exposure is going to be coming your way because you guys have done a great job of putting your heels in the dirt and getting that thing back up. And that leads me to the schedule. And I really kind of cut down some of the schedule last night to talk about some of the big things you guys have. Now, you only have, I think, 2 more weeks on Sundays until you go back to the Friday night formula.
Yes.
That's correct. Yes, after Memorial Day, we go to Friday nights, and that'll be dog days of summer from then.
Russ, I hope I pronounced it right, Mavis?
Yes.
Tell me about the benefit race. Why in honor of Russ?
Russ has passed. He was one of our sportsman's drivers. He was in a motorcycle deer accident. We were going to have the benefit just to help out the family with some gas money and so, but he did pass day before yesterday.
Yeah, I heard about that. And
so we're having a benefit to help out the family with what he was part of the race family there in Tomah, and he's going to be very well missed. He had a wild spirit, and he was a good driver.
I get a chance to announce again coming up here in mid-June. Great Northern Sportsman Series. They're going to be back again. This is going to be something else because it's a 40-lap feature, and traveling with the GNSS that I have the past 2 years, you're going to see a lot of horsepower and some big names coming out to Tomah.
Yeah. The thing about our track, drivers have to be a little bit smarter because it is considered a flat track, and they really are hard on their brakes. And then now we've had a Memorial Shootout there, Tim Meyer Memorial Shootout we had there last year, Sportsman Shootout. And some of the guys weren't smart enough to hold on to their brakes till the end.
It got interesting toward the end of that race.
It got very interesting toward the end when you get 40 laps out like that, yeah.
Also, American Cup Series coming back in July. You've got some novelty races. Kids get a chance to get on the track and drive with some of their favorite stock car drivers. One of the biggest publicized ones I think that I've seen is the Stevie Jorgensen annual race that comes up. This will be the 4th year, and to me, from what I've seen on my side, this is really starting to grow.
Yes. It's the Stevie Jorgensen Buckle Up for Life. Stevie was my daughter. She was killed in a car accident 4 years ago, and if she would have had her seatbelt on, she would still be alive. So that's something that it's more of a, I didn't want it to be a memorial. I wanted it to stand for something. So that's why it's Stevie's Buckle Up for Life.
One thing I notice with Tomah Sparta is a lot of tracks don't have a lot of, quote, memorial races. You guys have at least 4 or 5 every year, and again, I think that takes me back to the last segment when I talked about this track regrowing its roots. I mean, you had just said that perfectly a little while ago, and you see that with some of the names on some of the benefits, which brings the families back out.
Right, right.
And that's what we like to emphasize, the family aspect of the racetrack is, you know, we have families in the stands, and we actually have designated smoking areas to keep smoke away from the people that don't want to smoke, and designated area that we're calling it Turn 5, but that's our bar area, so it's kind of try to keep the young ones out of there. Yes, Turn 5, or is it the fifth corner? I don't remember which. We're deciding between the two. Whoever paints the sign gets to name it. So
now that we're talking about the beer area, we got to talk about concessions. What do you guys serve?
A lot of beer.
Well, Bill Miles is smiling on camera for that one there.
But we have hamburgers, hot dogs, brats, potato chips, the sodas, normal thing. We don't have French fries, cheese curds, stuff like that. But we have some of the best burgers in town.
Well, they were the last time I was out. I'm going to test you guys here, because every time I see you post something about dollar hot dogs, and Niles asked, oh, you guys better have a case out there when Diker.
Well, you know, we got dollar hot dogs again this weekend, so.
Oh, that's going to sound good. And real quick, ticket prices.
All through the month of May, we're charging just $5 for all admissions, with the exception of under 5, which is always free. Or under 6, I'm sorry. 5 and under is always free at the Tomah Sparta Raceway.
Our first Friday night, we're going to stick with the $5 just to get it. It's been amazing how many people have come out for that $5 entry fee and dollar hot dogs. And our first Friday night, we're going to stick with that, but then we'll probably go back to our normal price, which is $10 for adults. We're hooked up with the EMTs, firefighters, policemen. They all get in for $8, same as the senior citizens and military.
Nice.
$5 for students, and then like Rick was saying, it's 6 and under is free.
You can find them, just Google search it on Google. If you want to find the Tomah Sparta Raceway, they're really doing a nice job of really building up the Facebook page. Make sure you like that page as well. Coupon specials, nightly specials. You can find the schedule on there. Talk to some other drivers about maybe what they're running, or if you have an interest of maybe even buying a part. They have rummage sales out there for crying. Get a hold of these guys, and if you get a chance this year, stop out and help these guys rebuild the family roots of a lot of the names we were talking about earlier. And you can make a new friend, eat a good hot dog, talk to these guys afterwards, and really help that racetrack get back up. Like I said, Bill Niles and I are going to be out several times this year, rummaging through the pits and putting some different voices and names.
Rummaging through the
I'll be rummaging through the food stand while he's in the pits. I will openly admit that. I want to thank both you guys for coming in. Kudos to the both of you. You guys are really bringing this thing. When it was down here, you're bringing it back up, and Magnum Radio, broadcasting, Bill and I, you've got our support, and like I said...
we appreciate that.
Very much. It means a lot to us.
You're going to be seeing us out there quite a bit this year. Again, Sunday nights now, first Friday night show is June 3rd. Look them up on Facebook. That's going to do it for the program today. Tune in. You're going to hear more about these guys on Saturday during the Whitetail Convenience Store Race Report on WBOG from noon until 1. I'm Dan Diker. Thanks for joining us. More to come next week right here on 7 Rivers Racing.